See? That's how you work on your own. It's all easy. Right, let's try and do this without swearing. We have some strips to remove. I'm just taking the 3 strips out. All the electricals, because you've got light switches, or not light switches, light circuitry in here, and some bulb holders, etc. That's, oh shit, I've just broken it. That's still got to come out. There's a whole lot of wiring loom up there. But I'm taking the braces out and the padding that's within that, obviously for noise vibration reduction. Taking those out. The rest is I'll leave this assembly alone. But then there's just an easier surface, hopefully, to blast and etch prime once I find somebody who can do it. We have a hole in which something was stuck before, and then when you come around this side, the question is how the hell do you get, oh look, I got my name spelt right. Anyway, besides that, you got to get in there, right down there, and I've got hands and arms that don't really want to go in there, but you need to get right down to approximately down there somewhere. Can't even see it properly. Down there with a spanner. You've got a curved hood, you've got restricted access here. It's probably not an inch. I mean, this is literally, it's 2 of my fingers on top of each other, which is probably less than an inch. And then there's gotta try and get in there. I figured it out, but it took me a while. Lots of swearing. I came in with long 90-degree angled pliers. I tried getting in various spanners in there. I've actually ended up with this one, which would probably be, this is the King Dick, which would probably be the right size if you could get into it. Just noticed that says that somebody nicked this from the military. This obviously came in a box of tools at some point, because I tend to buy just boxes of junk tools for £10 or whatever, wherever I can. So this must have been a military issue one having that, and it says 1968. So that's the year of issue, I guess, with the old series number. It'll be interesting to know if somebody knows anything about this. But issued in 1968. Size-wise, 1 1/16 AF. So that's the one side. The other side obviously is 7/8. But I think that's a 1-inch nut that's holding that bloody thing in the back there. So I couldn't get a 1-inch ring or flat over any of its aspects. So I tried this, I failed once again. So then, with a lot of swearing, I figured out that maybe if I do it slightly differently and approach it this way. The only reason I'm recording this is in case somebody else has got the same problem where somewhere in the past, because remember I want to possibly put a hood eagle on, possibly, maybe not, but I've got that vice grip on that side onto the little bit of crown that's left over of that thing. And now what I'm going to do is get my hand down here and then basically try and have steely fingers, which I don't, I have soft hands, and hold that while I wiggle this, and then try and unscrew this thing. And this is what happened, is that I actually managed to get this thing to move. Ah! It's just fallen off. Something's fallen off. Right, so we got this thing out. We have, it feels like a felt. Okay, so it's a rubber mount. This would have been, I'm assuming, maybe factory fit. I don't know. But there's more. There you go. There's the nut. It goes with this, and it's one of these weird little pressed. It's almost like a one of those weird spring washer type things. The little crown in it. But all of this comes together. That's obviously the backing plate to it. And then to keep the shape together, all of this fits together like that to give you a square fit under the hood. So that's the support, which I'm assuming there was a Chevy badge, a bit like you see on some of the town cars and things on the bonnet. I'm not sure if this was fitted aftermarket, but regardless, it's quite a bloody fight to get this off, but it's off. Now, next job, get this flattened out, and I'm actually going to weld up that hole. I don't want that hole there. Now that definitely looks like a factory hole, that. See where this was sitting. If somebody knows more, let me know what you know about this and what you think it was before. But it's amazing that the red paint was under it. So this has been off subsequent to, look at the orientation. This was put in aftermarket. This was probably put on when it became a cowboy Cadillac on the farm or something, when it hit the red paint after the blue was painted over. So that's an interesting learning. But yeah, I'm going to grind this clean and definitely close this up, finish it off, and go back to a pretty standard hood. So yeah, lots of swearing, lots of discomfort, but hey, this is not the kind of thing people do because it's easy. They do it because they're stupid. So yeah, let me go back to being stupid. Next step, get that laying down flat. It's easier to weld flat on the ground. Quickly grind it clean, and then make up a little plate to fit in there. Back in a bit. So you know those jobs that turn 5-minute jobs into 3-hour or 3-day ordeals? This is not one of them, but it's a similar kind of thing. I bought myself a set of these tools, Imperial, and you can see they're still nice and shiny and clean. Tool Zone, whoever they are, doesn't really matter, because I didn't see myself using these too often. But already one of the pins are missing, so that head falls off. There's a little retaining spring that helps with keeping it in position, obviously, when you move it into a certain position. So right now, the first job, before I even get on to processing that, which I'll tell you about in a minute, is to make up a little pin to fit in there. And I'll try and use one of my punches just to peen the end so it doesn't slip out. Probably unlikely to work, because these things seem to always test you a little bit. But first thing is stupidly holding this in my hand. See, like that. So that's not clever. This wheel is one of the ones I used yesterday on trying to get in and force the rear of the bed, the load bed. So obviously sticking it into the vise is kind of the right way of doing things, and the vise is right here. But how often do we do this shit that we don't use the equipment that's right there at hand. Right, so that is an old Allen key. I think it's from an IKEA setup. But now the idea is to just cut it ever so slightly longer than it needs to be. And then hopefully I'll be able to just tap it with a hammer and keep it in there rather than losing it along the way. So we'll mark it with a Sharpie. And we'll cut on the outside of that. Once again, back in the vise where it should be. Sitting down working isn't clever either. I should be standing so that I can jump when something goes shit. Obviously bigger on both sides, but hopefully that'll work. So I'll get it on here. That side, you can see it's stuck. That should stay. Now that's a lot longer than it should be. And I have an option. I could either cut a bit of it off, put it across a grinder, or leave it as it is. I think cutting a little bit off it is going to make me happier in the long run. So this is where the hours go. And when people ask me whether I've got a schedule, when do I think I'm going to be done with this rebuild of this truck? I don't know. There's constant little obstacles. I'm not complaining. They're just things that throw the time scales that you might want out. Would it be nice to be finished by Easter? Of course. Not going to happen. It's quite hot. Right, so once again, back in there, into the breech. There you go, much better. So, that's what happened before. Stick that in there, rest it on the edge. That's not going to come out, and it will kind of back to where it should be. Right, so the next trick is the working side down. A bit of metal that came from the same inner fender that we used previously for the other patches, but on the bonnet, as you know, or the hood if you want to call it that, there is a hole, funny little odd shaped hole. So I've got to get that flat, like that, clean it up a bit just so I can work with it more readily, and then copy that little pattern on there, cut it out, grind it, and just weld it in, finish it off. That'll happen in a moment. Right, we've got a bit of metal, came out of that inner fender. I have the tape that I actually marked. You can see there's a dirty finger mark on there. If you drop it, you pick it up again. Kind of cack-handed. And just find some way to stick this. Because I don't like wasting, obviously, I will stick this right at the end here somewhere. As long as it fits in. No, it's not close. Needs to be a little bit more this way. Bring it down this way a little bit. That could work. So now we have this little bit of metal. I'll take a blade. Oh, I'm not talking to myself, am I? Take a blade and cut that out, the tape, and then I can work around that. And then basically tack weld that in to the bonnet, into the hole, and finish it off. Clean it up, tidy it up, and it's ready to go for blasting if I can find somebody. I guess magnet can get put away. It's not perfect, but I'd say that looking at all the angles, it's all right. Obviously, once this is blasted and etch primed, I'll work this over again. It'll get probably the slightest skim of filler, but I'm happy with that. The hole's closed, most important. But the hole's gone. Obviously, if I'm going to drill new holes to put the big eagle on the front, that'll be a different story altogether, and I'll have people tearing their hair out, and I'll have people cheering. I haven't fully decided, although I bought it and I want it and I like it, and I've seen it on other people's trucks. But it might be a bit like an orange on a CB aerial, just a bit too much. We'll see. But for now, that's that done. I still have to figure out and find out about finding myself somebody who can blast this bloody thing, as well as all of those parts at the back there, to get it all clean and into primer. And then we can start working.